Assalamu alaikum. So I would like to explain a quote which is one of my favorite quotes from the world famous Jalaluddin Rumi, Maulana Rum. The Western world knows him just as Rumi, not realizing that he was actually a Sufi poet. So the quote is, "Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it." I think it took me a lifetime to understand this quote, that how can I not seek love? What does it mean that I have built barriers against it? What is he talking about? Because, you know, growing up, especially in our teens, then in 20s, then in 30s, and for some people even in their 40s, 50s, and even in 60s, their whole life, they keep seeking for love. They keep running after love. You've probably heard this statement from many people that I'm looking for true love, my true love. And people are always hungry for that love. We're hungry for validation. We want praise. We want other people to tell us that we're worthy of love. And what Rumi is saying here is that this should not be your task. This should not be your job. As long as you're looking for something outside of yourself, you're always going to be looking, right? You're always going to be running after. Even when you think you have found someone or something that you love, you found a person that you have fallen in love with and you love them so much. What if they leave you tomorrow? What if something happens to them? What if things change, their feelings change? Then what? What happens to the love? So as human beings, I think we get programmed at a very young age that love is something outside of us. But if you really want to know the truth of love, look at a baby. The baby is all love. It's full of love, right? The baby knows how to give and receive love because that's all they know. They haven't yet learned all the human behaviors that are going to later teach them that love is something that can be taken away. Love is something that, you know, they can lose. And love is something that we have to work hard for. And we have to do all kinds of things and manipulations and, you know, all the things that we do as human beings only to basically seek love. And it took me a long while to figure out that the essence from which we are made, we know that Allah Ta'ala made us from His Nur. We know that, you know, it was the divine breath that gave us life. Every single breath we take is actually of love. Without Allah Ta'ala's love, we would not even be breathing. We are filled with love. It is all inside of us. We build these barriers in our heart. Things like, oh, I can't be loved by God unless I'm perfect. I can't be loved by such and such person unless I am really good looking, thin, pretty, young, whatever, right? We have all these things that we build in ourselves, which basically keep us from loving our own selves. We define love in very conditional manner, and then we start seeking it with all those conditions and burdens, all of those in our heart. And as we get to know ourselves, which is something that I teach in my 30 days course, as we get to know ourselves and we begin to accept ourselves with all of the negatives and the positives and the bad things and the good things that are just merely labels that we keep putting on ourselves, then we begin to see, as we remove those barriers, we get to the beauty of who we truly are, even with our imperfection, because the perfection lies in the imperfection. That is how the divine made us, right? And the divine cannot be wrong. The divine cannot make any mistakes. So once we begin to do that, we find the beauty of self-love, which then connects us to God's love. And we realize that the love that we now emanate from our personality is unconditional. And what we receive back from other people, from Source, God, from Allah Ta'ala, from everybody, it becomes unconditional. So this, to the best of my ability, is how I define when Rumi says that your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself, within your heart, that you have built against it. So stop repelling love. Simply accept who you are and you will feel the love that surrounds you everywhere.